Turning Point, some of the guys in CSI, our group CSI, Hope United, with Reverend Coleman, North Point Health and Wellness, a big collaboration, a big group talking about people on county assistance that came out of the tornado. When you talk about the demographic shift and shift into some of these people that you're talking about is in this county reduction. What you're talking about? Hey, we got to help these this 67% of the people, particularly just in North Minneapolis, that's on some kind of county assistance. So I mean, so how do we square that? Get them ready. How do we get them ready?
Well, I always tell people you got to take a step back and look at what's going on. All right, there are people who build airplanes and tanks and weapons, and they're the military-industrial complex. If there's no war, there's nowhere to use your bullets and things to go on. So they're in the business of war. You have people who sell drugs and people who sell, medical devices. So there's a healthcare industrial complex. There's also a welfare industrial complex. There are people who make money off poor people and are not accountable for whether or not those people stay poor or whether or not they actually move into the economic mainstream. It's just a job. And if they're not successful, nothing happens. And if they are successful, there's no need for them. Right. Now, I just want you to think about that for a minute as you ask about why is it that 67% of the people in North Minneapolis on some type of county program, which implies that they're also using other nonprofits and charity to make it. There's a huge industry out there that shows up every day, and just like on the Road Runner, where the wolf and the sheepdog showed up every day, clocked in, and chased each other, and then went home, all right? But none of the sheep ever got taken, all right?
Right.
So my point is, we first have to understand that there are very powerful institutions driven by people who are earning a living on this, number one. Number two, that the people the 67% that you talk about, they haven't been told that they have the right to get training and education. The federal law allows for them to go up to 1 year. State law allows for them to go 2 years. Hennepin County's practice is get to work right away. They've been deprived of their basic rights. All right. Now, that's element two when you think about what I told you about the welfare industrial complex, better known as the misery management machine. All right. Now, element three says that if you understand those two things, then someone's got to call the question, which is what we've done. Do you call spending $107 million in one community on these people success, or do you believe that there's something genetically wrong with these people and they don't deserve the opportunity of doing it better? All right?
Right.
We at the NCRT are saying change the paradigm. Now we have to test whether or not Hennepin County is serious about that and willing to make the right investment to do it. But more than that, nothing is ever given for free.
Right.
Remember, you have to demand freedom. And so we may have to make these demands in a way that makes some people uncomfortable. But as long as they're comfortable with us being uncomfortable, it is our responsibility to share our discomfort with them.
And when I think about it, how can anybody not be for that? Well, I guess you said it. I mean, it's jobs out there to keep us in that condition.
And they'll never fight you publicly.
Right.
All right. They'll either sit there and say nothing and look at you like you're less than a human being while they seethe inside, or they'll string you along, but behind closed doors, they're always figuring out how to cut the ring off and box you in. The only thing that works with these people is to draw them out into the public light and engage in the debate and grab them and never let them go until you get the outcome that you're after. You must never let him get away. You must stay on him continuously, long and strong.
But how do we get our people to the people that's being affected and sometimes don't know that you being affected because they by this kind of mentality.
Here's what I know. The secret of many attacks is secrecy. So people fight in the dark. They come in from behind. They don't want it out at night in the light. It really doesn't take that many people to put pressure on the system. Mm-hmm. They don't want anybody to show up. You go to these public meetings, whether they're the Met Council, the City Council, the Hennepin County Commissioners, or the Ramsey County Commissioners, the Minneapolis Airport Commission. If we showed up in there with 5 black folks, they'd stop the meeting and look at us.
Yeah.
With 5 people.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? How'd you know we were meeting? How'd you know what this is?
Yeah.
They don't say it out loud, but they're thinking, what are they doing here? Yeah. What are they here for? And that's not just about black folks. Yeah. That's about the public in general.
Yeah.
But if the public shows up, okay, yeah, it does change the whole tenor of the occasion. And if you show up consistently, now there are some people, like the public schools, they're used to people being there all the time. They even have delegation. Right. So you got to find a different way to come at them, right? Right. Because they're used to it. But most public institutions are not used to transparency.
And we're not, and so, but we better get involved with this game, because like you said, we on this run here, you know, talking about jobs, putting people on career path, talking about a county system. I mean, it took you to come up with it from the tornado, but this has been going on, and nobody stopped it.
Here's what I've come to conclude. First of all, my daughter's 11 now, so it used to be that when I walked in the house, somebody ran at me and yelled "Daddy," and that's how I got my love portion for the day, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't get that anymore, so I've learned to live without that. So the first thing you have to understand is we're not here to win a popularity contest, all right? Yeah. Number 2, if I'm not getting anything from this institution, how can I get less than nothing? So how does it hurt me to take them on? Right. All right? And number 3, you understand their true weakness. There is no such thing as a bureaucracy. That is an invented term. There are people who work for organizations. They like to remain anonymous. They stay behind the walls. They make the decisions that impact your life. They get the check. They got their beach home. They got the lakefront property. They got the kids in college, and you got nothing. You drag them out and call their names in public. You hold the elected officials accountable. You protest. You demonstrate. If you have to, you go to jail. Yeah. But you tell them, you will not conduct business as usual for one more minute as long as I'm living in this misery. We did it with MnDOT. We did it with the first ballpark. We'll do it again. Do not test us.
And if we have the right information to get out to the community, then they got to get up too.
Well, there are people who will follow us. I mean, you know, I don't worry about being able to raise a crowd. Mm-hmm. After being out here doing this thing for so long, I got people who were children who now are adults, got their own kids. If I call them up and say I need you somewhere, they'll be there. And like I say, every slave didn't run and every Negro didn't march, but we're still free, right? Yeah. Okay, then I don't need everybody. I just need enough.
And I take that. And I just like to tell the community, it's a big deal. The NCRT, the County Reduction Project, it's a big deal. It's a big deal what Louis King is doing out here at Summit. He talked about the booming construction that's getting ready to come that could put many young men and women life back on a better path that they can earn the money. Because you said something about getting a check, you can earn one. Is something about getting that check instead of waiting on it.
Absolutely. Now, there's one more secret to this, and everybody needs to get it. If I can defeat you between your ears before I fire a shot, I'm going to do that all day long.
Propaganda.
Absolutely. Okay, so if I can get you to think in a certain way, if I can divide your house where you never work together, I'm always going to be about that. So I want to talk to people now about Africans and African Americans. As long as we are prejudiced against Africans and they are prejudiced against us, then we will be divided, and as long as we are divided, we are conquered. All right? So we have to work now to build coalitions, to recognize our strength, to set an example for our young people so that they see us working together. You invited me to the Somali Independence Day the other day. We got out there, my little daughter walking around with her headphones on. She's there, but she's not there. She don't want to be bothered with the Somalis. The kids have been rude to her. By the end of the day, what was she saying?
Yeah, she had a great time.
She had a great time.
Yeah.
The Somali women were beautiful. Their clothes were great. She got the little decorations put on her hands and her wrists.
Yeah.
She loved it. She got engaged.
Yeah.
We have to do that. And we have to recognize that their problems are our problems. And they have to recognize that our problems are their problems. And together we can form one solution.
And that's absolutely right. It was a great Somali Independence Day. Abzak Bihi, being there with him, getting into that culture and just looking. It's a different thing, but they respect each other. You know, when they out in public. I mean, no matter if they have fights, they have fights. Every community
Everybody
has fights, but when it comes down to it, they lock together. How do they lock together and we don't?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that black people don't lock together. I think though that if you look at,
well, I'm saying we're more self-destructive at each other.
But if you look at what slavery did to us, to set the movie Django, could sell a wife away from a husband, children away from parents. The family is the basic core of community, all right? Also, it was Africans who sold Africans to white people from the beginning. So black skin, white mind, you might not be able to trust the man next to you. Then we get divided between light skin and dark skin, nappy hair and straight hair, bourgeois and street level. There are lots of ways to be divided. However, I remind people of the Montgomery civil rights deal, the bus boycott, and how black people had carpools and they quit riding the buses. It was the middle class that had the cars and the poor people that rode the buses. But for 12 months, the middle class and the poor people got together and broke the backs of the Montgomery bus system. Right. So today, our challenge, like with ALF and other movements, is for the black bourgeoisie to connect with the poor black folks so that we can deal with this economic apartheid. I think we're capable of it.
And I sure hope we are. I want to get into something that's been happening. You know, I'm talking about construction, talking about healthcare, talking about being on a career path, talking about the NCRT. But one of the biggest dangers to when you haven't talk about the 67%, it all ties in, and it ties in. And I think about just want to talk a little bit on the conversation of, you know, young 4-year-old got shot at the, you know, like 3 or 4 people got shot, but a 4-year-old shot at, you know.
Reprehensible.
You know, and I think about it, and Reverend McAfee went to the hospital where the young mother, in there with her mother, and the young, and he said it was just, she was saying, take me to jail. You know, in there, her baby was shot, take me to jail, but she was cursing and doing all this profanity in front of, and her mother was there. We lost something. We lost something when you talk about slavery and the things that we went through, that we, you know, the bus boycott and things like that. But we lost something where this young kid, 4-year-old, shot, her kid was shot. But she's so disrespectful in this hospital, and where Reverend McAfee had to take her outside and try to deal with it. But I'm just saying how we lost something right here. It's something gone.
We didn't lose it. It was taken, and people might want to criticize me, but I call it like it is, straight and no chaser. All right. If I understand you, when I study an opponent, I understand his strengths, and I want to break his strengths down like a shotgun. I then look at his weaknesses, and I want to exploit them. All right, is surgical. So if you look at integration and what integration did, prior to integration, the black middle class lived with poor black people. They were close to them. They went to the same churches. They shopped in the same stores because they couldn't go live anywhere else. So the black middle class values and the black poor people all had the same value system. It was one value system. With integration, now the black bourgeoisie, the black folks, me included, move out. All right? What's left? Here comes pop culture. And all you gotta do is look at from the Temptations to the Barcades and Confunction, what they were wearing, how they dressed, right? From the Temptations and Aretha and the Supremes in gowns and the hair done nice to Lil' Kim, to 50 Cent, to 2 Chainz. Look at what happened. So then young people emulate that. All right? They don't sing on the corner anymore in harmony. Everybody rapping, everybody got a Glock, shooting, killing. Pop culture redefined us along with the drug culture, which was intentional. So when you talk about that young girl, follow her home. Look at the community they live in. Look at are they connected to a church or not? Who's shaping the value system around even how you grieve when they have the funerals out there? It's not with any honor or dignity that they go to the funeral. It's something they've been watching on television. You know, they disrespect a funeral. People will shoot at a funeral. You're going straight to hell, okay? But they don't, the values have been eroded to the point, and we have to declare it and demand to put them back in place.
And if we don't,
Pandemonium. Chaos. Again, the thug, hoodlum, and hood rat society, the prison mentality of being hard, of going to jail, doing your time straight up like a real man. A real man, really? Is that right? A real man takes care of his family. A real man got all of his children in one place. A real man, if he's not there, never miss a child support payment. A real man goes to work every day, picks his kids up from drill team, is there with his babies. You a man?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Peter Pan.
Yeah. Let's go to just I just want I mean because I thought about that, and I thought about this 4-year-old getting killed. I thought about that, and it did. I'm not getting killed, but getting shot.
Get shot.
And I thought about it, and I was like, wow, this is a big deal of that we should be outraged.
When I first got here in 1989, I said, well, the violence is contained between the rats. They're not shooting old people, and they're not shooting children.
Yeah, that's the reason I say it. I want to think about it, because and we got about 7 minutes left in this segment, and then I got another 15-minute segment that I want to talk about straight values, and I want to talk about it in this context. But the most recent, I don't know what kind of murder it was, whether it was murder, I don't know what happened here, but a 9-year-old in North Minneapolis over on 27th or something was hung in the backyard. I don't know if you know it.
I missed that.
I mean, but he was hung. They still investigating to see what happened to this baby. 9 years old, hung in the backyard. Last Friday, they found him in the back of an abandoned building. And he was 9 years old. That's a big spring. But and I'm, I draw my own conclusion, like, what happened here, and they say the rope, wrapped around this kid's neck, and I think about this kid came from Georgia for the summer, and he was found in the backyard, hung Friday. They took him off the respirator Monday or two, yeah, Monday. Was this just happened. They just took him off the respirator. I mean, so he can keep living. I think I'm saying the right word. Where they unplugged him.
Right.
And they unplugged him Monday.
Life support. Yeah.
9 years old, Mr. King. Then a lot of people they say we don't talk about it. How do you say to a leader? We're supposed to be leaders, but they want us to say something. But what do you say in a circumstance like this? How do you cope with saying anything? What do we say to the family that's in Georgia? The mom is up here now, but what do we say to her as leaders? I'm just asking the question.
I would say to her, I cannot imagine your pain. I have an 11-year-old daughter. Right now, my 7-year-old grandson and my 2-year-old grandson are en route to me.
Yeah.
All right. And my daughter's never out of my sight, basically. I mean, or somebody else, there's no such thing as her walking around the corner. All right.
Right.
That just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We're real picky about where she spend the night.
Right.
I think we live in a day and age right now, in for the majority of our people, where your child is not safe. You just got to understand that they will shoot through your walls, and kill your children. Okay, so we can't lock them down 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't lock them down 24/7, we got to go on the offense.
Yeah.
Like, somebody know who shot that 4-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't saying nothing. All right.
When somebody know what happened to
Somebody know what happened with that little kid. They ain't saying nothing. But if you were ever a child, if you have any children that you love, or look at a child that's sitting next to you right now, and I wonder how you sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
You got something on your mind.
Well.
And for the people who did these types of things, we understand that they've been gone a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But we cannot live in fear of them.
Right.
We have to go on the offense.
Right.
If you don't tell, it's going to be you next. It's going to be your child next.
Wow.
It's going to be your grandmother next. All right?
Yeah.
And we have to stand against this. I'm the last person to fool with the police. I don't mess with them at all. One pulled me over the other night. He was curious about my license plate more than anything. All right?
Yeah.
But I want them to go about their business and me to go about mine. They come when I call. All right? But at some point, they're all that's between us and what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get a grip on this. There's no such thing as snitching. You're not a snitch. Snitches are criminals who turn on other criminals. If you're going to snitch, that's cool too. But for the majority of us, we're either witnesses or victims.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't have people killing kids.
And there's somebody, and whoever is out there, and you know anything about this young kid, 9 years old, I can't even imagine how this happened. I don't know what happened. I mean, he visited him from another state.
Yeah.
And then his mother got to come up here and get her baby.
But they're going to catch the person.
9 years old. How did that happen? Where were, who does that? Who does that and left him there? That's the insensitivity of that situation is so overwhelming. That's why I want to say something. I want to say something on this show.
Absolutely.
That because I want to let the mother know that we do know. But and all I can say is if whoever knows something, you should be telling because somebody whatever happened, that's some sick stuff. You know,
Oh, we're
you
dealing
want,
with a special person right there.
if you a 9-year-old, you know, and I just don't want it to go like he did it to Ian or Vanderbilt. Well, you know, the stories are flying. They got all kind of different stories. That's you know that some are just so crazy. I'll repeat them off air, but they so crazy because they. I mean, it's a heinous crime here. If I just don't even know how to say it because I can't imagine what happened. How do you do that?
So, either so if someone's posing that a kid did that to himself, then what drives a kid to do that? All right, that means that a kid is in a terrible place, in a vulnerable spot, and you need to get that kid some emotional help. All right, that's when we're protecting your child, not abusing your child to the point that they go to that. All right.
Yes.
We have to have mental health professionals to help with the children. And if that child was in that type of emotional state and nobody recognized it, that's an issue. On the other hand, if it was a violent act, then that's a bigger issue. Either way, it's a tragedy. Either way, it's a tragedy.
Well, I'm down to the last minute. Then I got another segment of 15 minutes of Mr. King, and I want to talk about 5 points that you talked about years ago, and I'm talking about it now. Talking about values and CSI, and I want to come back to that. We're gonna change the tape and get this right, and then do that last minutes because I want to talk about those 5 points you talked about many years ago.
Outstanding.
Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back. I did a little piece. I talked to Mr. King, President CEO of Summit Academy, about the young 4-year-old that got shot, and then the 9-year-old kid that we still waiting on the investigation about getting hung. Talking about values and why nobody has came out and said what happened to that kid. But that's why we started Community Standard Initiative, talking about values, and I've been working on this thing for a while, watching our kids as they were coming into the child care center, early child care center, using profanity and being disrespectful. And so that's why we started CSI, getting back to good, respect, responsibility. And I'm wondering how did we get this far off path? And you know, I came over and talked to Louis, and he talked about then he pulled something out that he had talked about this a long time ago. And I'm never one to run away from somebody, because every idea we got, we learn from something else. You know, everything we do try to follow in somebody's footsteps. And one of the things what I was talking about, he had talked about things that were hurting the African American community, and you know, and I'm gonna get right to him because the time is short, so I want him to do the talking. And the first one that you said was gonna be a burden to us, and this the 5 principles of rebuilding the African American community he did back in
2001 or 2002.
2001, 2002. It's some of the same things we're talking about. And the first one you talked about, what was detrimental is 69% back then was out of birth wedlock.
Sure, 80% of the children in Hennepin County, African Americans, are born out of wedlock. So
80%.
80%
Yeah.
of the children, African American children in Hennepin County, are born out of wedlock, meaning they're going straight to the misery management machine. They'll be on welfare. That's what the disparity is all about. The daddies, the men are running around making babies everywhere, not taking care of them. Little boys don't see men do what men do, so they don't learn how to be men, and therefore they just repeat the process. But deeper than that, 2 paychecks always beat one. And if a man is not there to provide, protect, and nurture his family will be in disarray and weak. And so that's our biggest problem that we got to turn around. And for people who disagree with me, I would ask them one question: what's your target? 100%? Is it that 100% of our children, black children, will now be born out of wedlock? When we talk to the Somali leaders, what did they say?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Yeah.
They didn't want our African American boys coming giving their Somali girls babies and leaving them.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
The Latinos, the Asians, you see the little stair steps in the family, the man and the woman, right there together. Us, he got 5 children by 4 different women. My baby daddy, my baby mama. Excuse me?
Yeah. Say we got to stop.
It's got to stop. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I got 3 daughters. That dog don't hunt.
And that's part of the losing. They losing respect for our women.
You cannot have a community where you don't have intact families. Period.
Yeah.
It will be what we got right here today.
Yeah, and we got to respect the women
Absolutely,
as they are, black queens and what they are. The second, we must set the expectation that 100% of our children will graduate from high school and will pursue some type of post-secondary education.
We started off in pit schools, holes. It was illegal to learn to read. Now, somebody told us, and I say this repeatedly, you got to say it over and over and over again. Doing good in school is selling out and acting white. So does that mean that in order to be black, you got to be stupid and illiterate? Again, back to winning the war between your ears. If I can get you to believe that education is not important, you will not be educated. If you're not educated, you don't have any skills. You don't have any skills, you can't work. If you can't work, nothing but the underworld or welfare. Now, back to the misery management machine.
Back again. Third, we must stop spending and consuming and become investors and saving. Wall Street is on sale, and African Americans have $500 billion in spending power. We talking about back in 2000.
It's on sale again. It's on sale again.
You know.
And our spending power's up. Again, though, back to the slave mentality. If you've been taught that you got to run and give the money, the man, every dime you got, you're not happy till you broke.
Yeah.
Okay, I call it payday rich, Monday broke. Okay,
Yeah.
Monday poor, right? You haven't been taught to own anything. I laugh at the little gangbangers and gangsters talking about, 36th Street, this their turf. You renting. You
Yeah.
you don't own this. What you talking about? The man can come and set your stuff out on the street tomorrow. Hey, you don't own this. We don't own anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we the only one don't own nothing. Everybody
At-
else is on
So
this
don't
stuff.
get mad at the Latinos. Don't get mad at the Middle Easterns. Don't get mad at the Africans.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not running out getting rims and spin with lights on them. That's
Yeah.
not what they're doing. They own all the nail shops, ladies.
Yeah.
Instead of getting your nails done, how about owning a nail shop?
Yeah.
That ever cross your mind?
Instead of having them move in, and that's what I say about all the stores coming in our community, and we in there, they got chicken and Italian beefs and combination.
So where's the man with a truck?
Yeah.
Where's the man with a truck selling out the back of his truck? Then eventually you get a store.
Yeah.
Then you get two. Where you at?
Yeah, and then they go and they don't know that.
Oh, he's scared he gonna get robbed.
They go to the bread store and go pick up the bread for 50 cents and come back to the corner store and sell it to you for $3.
There you go.
Drive off. I mean, that's what they do. I know they do that. That's something we gonna keep focusing on, because they gonna stop that. Go to the store, cook your kids some dinner, and quit
Eating out of Cheetos.
Yeah, quit chicken wings and fries, and then then they hungry a minute later.
Bro.
Because you should have something. We got to stop that. Number 4, all adults must care for all children. What's that about? Sounds simple enough on the surface, but when was the last time that we took the time out to stop kids from doing something wrong?
We exploit. You just talked about it.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying. Our job is to protect a child from danger, not to use them as drug runners or gun runners or to sexually abuse them. And if you see a child that is not your child and you got to stop him. So there was this phenomenon where, you don't say nothing to my child. Okay, lady. So now while he's either sitting there in the back of the police car or lying there on the streets dead, and you go, my baby ain't never done nothing to nobody, but now nobody will look out for your child because you said, don't say nothing to my child.
Right.
What do you want?
Wow. And then I got to read this other part. We have come to fear our children. We even exploit them ourselves. We must return to a standard of setting the example and demanding respect. It is our responsibility to keep our kids from dangers. If we don't, the child protection system and the jails will raise them for us. Self-explanatory, huh?
In the story.
In the story, And 5, the 5th one, finally, stop the violence. African Americans kill each other far more often than the police do on a daily basis, yet it is a non-event. We have accepted the fact that our lives are meaningless and worthless. Instead, I propose that we teach peace, adopt a zero tolerance level for violence in our community. We cannot live in fear, and for those who promote violence in song, movie, or game, we send a clear message. We will not buy your product if it promotes genocide. We will not ask for them to stop rapping about violence. We will not ask them to stop rapping about violence. We simply won't buy it. Freedom isn't free. If these 5 principles sound too big, I urge you to think about the slave dreaming of freedom or the woman who wanted to vote in South Carolina. The record clearly shows that we can do what is necessary to be free. There's enough money we have to mobilize our youth and strengthen our churches. Finally, we will need our friends and have always been there, our friends that have always been there to help us.
We are not weak. If people want us to believe that we're weak, they want us to believe that we're defeated because they fear us and they're trying to maintain the status quo. But what I always tell people is that there was no sunset on slavery. When it was put into place, they never wrote down, in 300 years this will go away and the slaves will be free. We had to fight for that. Same thing with Jim Crow. There was no sunset on Jim Crow. They didn't say in 100 years black folks will have the right to vote. Economic apartheid is going to fall the same way that slavery and Jim Crow failed. We will take our place in history, and our destiny shows that we will win.
When I think about it in my last 5 minutes here, I think about all we've been doing over the last 2 years since the tornado. Me and you didn't work together at all. You used to try to get out the room as soon as I come in. So as soon as I come in, you get out. Now here we are here and on the cusp of something that you said to me, hey, this is our shot. We got to get this done. If we don't, what happened?
Well, we will be able to say that we gave it our best, all right? But that's not good enough. The only thing we're going to be, the only outcome that I foresee is that we're going to sit there as old men and look back and say, wow, look at what we accomplished, all right? We had the courage to stand up and despite our own weaknesses and our own problems, we had the courage to stand up and not just call it for what it was, but to do something about it. Not to blame people, but to lead, to set an example, to form partnerships with the Somalis, to try to work beyond our own petty differences, to demand social justice so that everybody in this society can realize true value. So my prediction is that we will win. We don't have a choice.
And I always ask this question because I look at it. 18 years here at Summit, building this program, building it up to from 15 to 600 students coming all that way, being the chair of the NCRT, that you don't have to do. You could sit back here, you took the challenge on the NCRT, you take the challenge to talk about, hey, we got to get something right about our people. What make you keep doing it? I mean, Army, from Morehouse to the Army, from the projects in Florida, you started on the bottom.
Absolutely.
Started on
Tomato
the bottom.
fields.
Came a long way.
Absolutely.
Why I keep doing it? I mean, why pick up that extra chore to talk about our people on county assistance? Say no more.
It's what I was born to do. I was sent here as a young soldier, and I looked around and understood why I was here. And the first thing I had to do was build this institution. Next, develop a way of thinking about life. Third, develop a following. And four, tackle the problem. All right? So it's been a journey. I understand it as my work. It's a ton of fun. I mean, we have a good time every day.
That's real.
Every day. It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding when we have people walk up to us, and go, you helped me, I'm doing better. I mean, like, gee whiz. I mean, like, what else is there? Go make a ton of money. I mean, get so much money. You go to Vegas and gamble, $1 million a day. Where's the meaning in that?
Yeah.
We're part of something big. And we just get up two guys every day, strap on and go do it and enjoy it. I mean, so for me, it's like going to the playground every day, hanging out with my friends, but we're playing for real lives now.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as losing.
Yeah.
And so that's it for me.
Hey, thank you, Mr. King.
My man.
At Summit Academy, I know he just said the last word, and she giving me 1 minute to say I'm gonna leave it alone and say hope you have a great holiday, and this show continue to play and listen to it and think about those five principles, because it's all about what we're talking about, CSI, our values, and these principles here. This just wrote down better. I'm gonna have to take this with me. I like to.
We're gonna get us a radio show and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll talk. We gonna always talk about it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks again, Mr.
Thank
King.
you, sir.
All right.
All right.
Okay. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Politically Speaking, and I will guarantee you that we're gonna keep the shows in on time because we got a lot to talk about. See you on the next episode. Peace to the community.